Former President Donald Trump returned to Butler, Pennsylvania. Remember, this was the site of the first assassination attempt against him. And while there, he spoke to his supporters about the attack.
12 weeks ago, we all took a bullet for America, and all we are all asking is that everyone goes out and votes. And all of this will be for nothing if you don't get out and vote.
CBS News campaign reporter Olivia Rinaldi was there during the first assassination attempt. You returned to cover this rally, which I know is emotional and difficult for you and the team. You've written about that on CBSNews.com. But for our viewers watching, explain the atmosphere, the difference in atmosphere, I guess, on President Trump's return to Butler.
Yeah, good to be with you, Errol. The atmosphere change was palpable. It was a lot more solemn. There were sections of the pre-program that honored Corey Comparator, who's the firefighter who passed away during the first assassination attempt. He was shot and ultimately passed away after that. So it certainly had a solemn feel to it. And Donald Trump's return was meant to be triumphant, but certainly you could feel the heaviness in the air around it. There was a certain gravity to the moment of Trump returning. And that was the point that the campaign was trying to make. This was a crowning achievement, a crowning rally that they were trying to hold that day. It was one of the larger crowds that I've seen Trump have at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, the second time around. Certainly had a moment to it, a amount of heaviness to returning to Butler.
Folks should head to our website to see your reflections on that day. I want to quickly drill down on some specifics when it comes to the ballooning deficit. Most Americans say that concerns them because there's a new report from the nonpartisan nonprofit Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, and it found that both candidates' plans would add to the national debt, but Trump's would add $4 trillion more than Harris. Would you know which parts of his agenda are proving to be the most costly?
Yeah, this was just released from that committee. You mentioned both would raise the debt and the deficit. Harris's plan would increase the debt, they estimate, by $3.5 trillion under some conservative or center estimates. Trump's would increase by about $7.5 trillion. Now, both of their highest costs in both of their plans would actually be the extension of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Now, that's the tax code that was approved by Congress under Trump's first administration back in 2017. Those are expiring in 2025. That's why you're hearing a lot about tax policy during this campaign. So important to note that that's actually what would increase the most under both campaigns. But there were a few other things that were of interest that I noted. Some of the highest costs from Harris's plan would be, increasing or rather, both of these campaigns have proposed exempting tax on tips and tax on overtime from the Trump campaign. Those would also increase the deficit by a couple $100 billion. So a lot to really dig in here on this report. We're also learning that Harris's plan to increase the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28% would raise revenue. So a lot to really dig in here about how these specific policies could impact Americans and impact the country's economy and well-being overall.
Yeah, and a good reminder that everything the candidates promise costs something, always worth asking how they intend to pay for it. Olivia Rinaldi, thank you so much.